Alrighty, folks. This is one of the better games that I've seen in a while. And it starts off with a bit of an underdog story. So, first, we have Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is in the red, playing as the Kumans. If you don't know Mr. Bean, he is one of many very talented Age of Empires 2 Vietnamese players. I should have said Vietnamese Age of Empires 2 players. I believe at his peak, he's like top 50-ish. But I think has periods of inactivity and recently returned and is like top 70, top 80. So he's up there at around 2K2, maybe sometimes 2K3 rating. And then you got Leary. This is on the King of the Desert version of Arabia, and Leary's the reigning champion of King of the Desert. Leary is like easily top 3. Some people say top 1, top 2, depending on the moment. So Leary's a beast. Mr. Bean is also a beast, but he's like a smaller beast. And then you have Bean, who's playing as the Kumans. Now, this is what's interesting about this. I'm 99.9% sure they went random Civ into the Civ matchup. And Leary's got Goths over here, a Civ which we'll talk about. But Bean had a period many months back where he only played Kumans. So we have an underdog, but a good player who understands Kumans and all the bonuses because this player played with Kumans all the time. And then we have Leary, the better player, but with arguably the worst civilization. Goths have cheaper infantry, which is great. However, Goths do not have any eco bonuses. Kumans have the cheaper town center in the feudal age. Kumans can also make stables and archer ranges a lot cheaper, and that savings can end up going a long way. So we'll see what the approach ends up being, but I will say this, the whole TC approach normally doesn't work too well on more open versions of this map. See, it's a crazy open map. I don't know where you'd make the second town center, but if you were to do that, it'd certainly be taking a risk. If I were to play against Leary, I would go for the second TC because I feel like you need something extreme to beat Leary. If you try and play the meta, granted, you do have cheaper buildings, but it just doesn't feel like it'd be quite enough to be able to kill someone like Leary. Leary loves his man-at-arms. He loves his archers. He loves his micro. And he's got a 4 onward right now, so it looks like he might be building up towards something like that. All right, what's up, Spencer? He says, this is my new favorite day of the week. Been missing high-level content the last year or so. Glad you can make it, Spencer. Yeah, I think, like, ideally the games of the week thing I could have started prior to leaving Twitch. But I think especially after leaving Twitch, it has helped because there's been, quite honestly, just less high-level Age of Empires 2 for people if they want it, right? With the exception of, like, the tourney that's going on right now. I feel like if you guys are trying to watch high-level Age of Empires 2 right now, there's just not a lot out there because a lot of people are focused on AoE4. And Mr. Bean has been so greedy. Check it out. 5 minutes in. He's got goats galore underneath the TC. And he's still trying to push in the rest of his hunt. Now, this 2 on wood approach tells me that he... This tells me he wants to go for the town center because he doesn't need wood for anything else. And now Leary comes forward. Leary loses a bit of HP on his scout, but he at least knows where Bean is. By the way, I should apologize. I continue to forget to remove the graphic mods. The little balloon thing. I think this is an old graphic mod for when it was Age of Empires 2 DE's 1-year anniversary. Don't ask me why it's added now, but it is there, and I'm sorry if that's distracting. So, 19 population on the way to feudal age. As fast as it gets right here for Bean. And Bean knows Leary's reputation, so he's going to wall in his wood line. And then he'll probably just use the stragglers to get the rest of the wood. As for Leary, Leary has said, I'm not going to drush. I'm not going to go man-at-arms. Because I know what this guy's going to do. I think he's going to go for 2 TCs. So one of the counters to the 2 TCs is you just go fast castle. And you can pressure them. So let's say you were Berbers or something, right? You make a lot of knights, you make a lot of siege, you make some monks, and you pressure the town centers, especially with there being a hill here. You know, pressuring that would be a pretty good idea. I've seen situations where someone goes for 2 town centers. The other person goes fast castle and drops a castle on their face. There's different things you can do. Leary, I think with the correct strategy choice, because if he were to try and damage this type of a play and not do immediate early feudal damage, he would probably be behind. because there will be 2 TCs producing villagers for Bean once it's completed. And this civ is really, really hard to stop. All right, so remember I said it's really awkward to know where to place the town centers. Normally you want a wood line and a gold. I was actually thinking here would be good. But he's decided to place it over here. That's not too bad. Now he's got another wood line option, which I like, just in case he were to get pressured. It does take longer to build the second TC, but 9 minutes in. It's game time minutes into this game. Bean on the way to the second town center. And Leary's just at home right now. So it's kind of rare for games to play out like this on Arabia, right? Normally you have a lot of military coming out across the map right now. But both players have just prioritized eco. And trust me when I say, this game is definitely not one you're going to want to skip through. And this is just going to be so funny, man. I was losing my mind when I saw this game. It's hilarious. I also just love the stage. Bean experienced with Kumans, but the worst player. Leary, probably with the worst civ, but the better player. If you know me, you've known that I've liked that stuff for many, many years. This is risky. What are you doing here? Wait a second, Leary. You're going to lose that Vil, bro. It's feudal-age. What are you doing? Leary. Leary. What? All worth it, I guess, to trap the scout? I thought he was going to try and wall the scout in there and save the Vil, but he said, nope. Bad scout. You stay in there. Okay, what Leary will probably do is he's going to bring his scout in here. And he's going to create a little... Yeah. He's going to create a little wall. And he's going to try and kill this now. And he's going to end up killing the scout. Okay, well, in the end, he kills the scout from Bean. Bean did kill a villager, though. And Bean now has 2 town centers producing Vils. Leary still has to go Castle Age to do whatever his plan is. So just keep an eye on the Vil count now. It's already 27 versus 25. But that's going to go like 29 versus 26 and 31 versus 27. Takes a while to get the town centers pumping, but once you do, man, it's very tricky to deal with. And so the idea is you have to have a push that allows you to basically take out one of those TCs and the Vils along with it. But this is the idea. Leary's going to go for knights. If he was Berbers or Franks or some civ with Nika bonus for this, it would obviously be better. But thankfully for him, Goths still get knights. So instead of going infantry, he's going to go for knights. We don't have any villagers on stone or anything of the sort for either player, so I don't think Leary will be going for a castle drop. Leary's approach is definitely not to boom either, because if you try and go for the second town center, you're just going to be late. You have to pressure it. Bean doesn't really have any clue right now, which has got to feel so weird against Leary, you know? It's 35 villagers versus 27. Now, you are spending more food if you're in Mr. Bean's position. So, yes, you have the Vil lead, but you're also spending twice as much food. So, it's harder for you to go up to Castle Age. Here he sees the town centers. He kind of knows where he wants to target right now. He sees everything. He knows where the wood line is. He knows where the gold is. He's attacking with the scout just to be annoying. Normally, here come the villagers. You will have siege along with this. And it looks like we're going to see Bean do something over here around the stone. He's getting some walls up. Going to add the barracks. Leary is behind by 13 Vils. When you're on your way to the next stage, you cannot produce Vils. This is insane uptime. Now, I think the best thing you can do against this with the present meta is you should be going Spearman Scouts against this right now. If you just stop this before it gets going, you could potentially just win the game. It's not so easy, of course. There's the Siege Workshop and the Monastery. And Leary with the micro. I like it. He's going to act like he's going to hit, but he's not going to hit. I like it. Now he does hit. Now he doesn't hit, and boom, kills the Vil. Random red villager over here being attacked by a lion. Bean probably under pressure right now, but I don't think this villager will go down. Just send that villager home. All right, so Bean making the barracks and making the stable on the backside. Bean's at 42 Vils. And Bean is using the market and is now on the way to Castle Age with a 13 villager lead. Leary's making a monk. We'll probably snag the relic. And Leary can't even afford any siege just yet. This is super all in for Leary. Guys, he doesn't have Horse Scholar. He doesn't have any crazy eco upgrades. And this is weird to me. He's rushing Chain Barding Armor for 2 knights. It feels like that is not worth it at all. think if you've got like 6 or 7 knights, maybe it's worth it. Bonus that a lot of people forget about with the Cumans is that they actually get more HP on their palisade walls. So it's quite easy for them to be able to just wall out knights. This is what Bean can see. Here comes the knight. Now the knights can fight underneath the TC consistently with chain barding. And now I'm starting to like it a little more because he's got 4 knights. The TC really won't damage these knights too much, and Leary will know this. And Leary's just going to end up going for the villagers for now, which is fine. Actually just damaged his own knight. But the thought process is you have to kill a lot of villagers quickly. Otherwise, Cumans are just going to beat you. And we know Bean is going to try and drop a castle. Leary did see the stone was being mined, so he might have an idea. Still 40 villagers versus 31. Then you have to take into account that there's 2 town centers for red, so we can continue to produce vills, but there has been a lot of idle time. I actually think the Mangonel should be shot down here. Garrison with more. Oh, that's such a throw from Leary. Oh, that's such a mistake. As he actually gets quick gated in. Well played, Bean. And all right, this is where the game gets crazy, because Bean's in Castle Age, but Bean realizes that this TC could eventually go down. So Bean is gonna... don't do that. Just kidding. Bean's gonna drop a castle. Now, I really don't like this castle because I think a castle on the hill would have maybe been able to save the town center. I'm not too sure. But you have to understand that this puts you under immediate pressure. And so you're just constantly... It's really hard to make the right decisions all the time when you're under this much pressure. Especially because there's got to be some pressure involved with facing up against Leary. Trust me, I know. I played him twice last week, and it was not too fun. Especially because he didn't even beat me with meta. That is the most infuriating thing about it. I thought Leary was better than that. I thought he would just meta kill me. But no, he had to go for troll strategies. Wait, did he delete that TC, or did it just get destroyed? It must have got destroyed, right? Okay, it got destroyed. Okay, that seems like a simple thing, but I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so where we arrived to is 1 TC for Bean, 1 TC for Leary. But Leary, he needs to continue to try and do damage because Kip checks are on the way, and he is still behind an eco. Now, Knight Mangonel is still the stronger composition, especially since the Kip checks don't have many upgrades, but you do see the upgrades on the way. And Kip checks are a unit that fires extremely fast, but they have very low attack and very low HP. So basically, if you hit them, the Kip checks die quickly, but they have the potential to tickle you a lot and eventually kill you. So we've got 3 Kip checks for now. Leary sees the castle, maybe didn't know about that. And for now, I think he's going to try and take out the market just so he can get more space. But it is full-on aggression here for Leary. Does have 2 relics in the monastery, which will give him some gold, which is nice. But guys, this is going to get crazy, okay? Leary with the pressure. Leary not really booming, okay? Still needs good eco upgrades if he wants to go into a boom. But he does have the opportunity to take out this TC if he wants to. Now, it's tough if you're in Bean's position. He's making another blacksmith now. Oh, he didn't finish Bodkin Arrow. He lost Bodkin Arrow. He used to make the blacksmith for that reason. Wow, that timing from Leary was great. At least he realized, right? I wouldn't realize that, and then I would just die. But yeah, you really can't make siege if you're in Bean's position because the knights would just dive against your siege. So here comes the counterattack from Bean. Leary wide open. He has to micro. He sees the blacksmith again. He's not going to be able to deny Bodkin Arrow this time. Bodkin Arrow comes in. We have the response from Bean. I do like the relic or the monastery choice because then maybe if you convert a knight, the knight can take out the siege. And here are the Kip checks. All right, villager went down, and now we'll get to see these things micro. Now, I think you really need to get bloodlines here for your Bean. He does have the stable, but what he doesn't have right now is consistent food eco. He's just constantly under pressure. And so this TC is going to be the next one to go down. And this is a new TC. He just made this, and Leary goes, boop, to try and hit him. But he dodges, and then, whoop, he's going to dodge again, splitting with villagers. Honestly, the villagers should just go after the siege. You're probably going to lose them anyways. These kip checks did not go down. They're running back home. Still trying to mask the kip checks is Bean. As he lost the monk, and he's just losing so much right now. Leary's still on 1 TC, so you've just got to be like... If you're Leary, you're sitting pretty right now. You know what you've killed. You also look at the score. You realize this guy probably doesn't have too much in the way of either eco or military. Now, if Leary were to find this, it might just be game over right now, because that's going to be minus 13 vills. But for now, Bean's still in this game. And when you start to fall behind in games, you feel the need to do something crazy. Leary looking around with the monk here. He might end up finding the wood line. He's just trying to get the relics right now. And now Bean has gone from 2 TCs to 0 TCs. You ready for this? Hope you're ready for this. Here come the knights. Oh, Bean with the quick walls. This saves the game for him. If these quick walls do not come down, it is 100% game over because all the Vil lead is lost. But at least it did... Uh-oh. I didn't remember him getting through there, so my commentary's been ruined. Well, I was going to say, if you got the quick walls down, at least the Vil count would be even, right? At this point, it looks like Leary's going to gain the Vil lead because Leary can produce more Vils. So Bean's like, you know what? Screw this. This is really difficult. I have to do something, again, crazy, to be able to have a chance. Not sure what this farmer's doing. The farmer's going to dodge. Well played. Now he doesn't have a job, but there's other jobs to take. And here comes Bean. Now, look at Leary's point of view. Leary's like, I've destroyed every TC. I've denied the wood line. Where are his villagers? Bean's going to pull these Vils. He's going to bring it over to the gold. The gold is pretty much the only thing that he has right now. Very important to know. I don't think he has a market. Oh, he does have a market. Okay, he needs that market. Because look. Here come his Vils. Look at his stone count, guys. This is Leary's point of view. He's got, at this point, he's got great farm count. He's got great military. He's microing. He's focused. What a beast Leary is. He probably feels like a god right now. Mangonels and knights. He kills his own knights. He doesn't need those. But where's the enemy at? Where is he? I don't... Where's the enemy? Is he dead? Is he defeated? Where? I don't see where the enemy's at. This doesn't make any sense. And castle on his face! And not only is it a castle on his face, but it's a castle that is next to the stone. So, Bean just did a very important thing. Bean only had enough wood for 1 lumber camp. So, Bean places the lumber camp so he can have wood income. He drops a castle here with pretty much his whole eco. And it's right by Leary's TC. And now there's a decent amount of kip checks, too. Like, this is the number of kip checks you really have to worry about. So, like, with the wood income that's about to come in from this wood line, Bean can also make a mining camp here to continue to mine stone and maybe drop more castles. And Leary's just like, oh, what do we do? So he's got to bring this stuff back home. He's got to scramble up town centers here. He's going to lose a Vil. He's going to lose another and another and another. And Leary's TC is still not complete yet. Look at the Vils going down and look at the pop. Obviously, the military count for Leary is insane, but it's 27 Vils versus 32 right now. And this TC is going to go down. I was losing my mind when I saw this castle from Bean. I love Bean. Bean is such a funny player, man. Look at his base. Look at his eco. By the way, the one farmer is still farming away. I love that guy. His name is Jim. He's a nice guy, too. He deserves it. So, there's going to be another castle for Bean. Bean now gets bloodlines. And Bean now has very little eco to focus on. So, we'll quite literally just micro. And as you can see, the kip checks do fairly well at this point. Also, the army for Leary doesn't really scale all that well. You really don't want to be going for monks long-term with Goths. You really don't want to be going for knights long-term with Goths. These kip checks run in, these kip checks run away, and no conversion, or 1 conversion for Leary. Oh! There will be more if he continues. 38 pop versus 49, 27 villagers for both. Is this not ridiculous? The player with 0 TCs has tied it up with the Vil count. And Mangonels can, as you see Bean here, Mangonels can take out castles. So there's 2 big areas in the map where Bean has villagers right now, and the Mangonels can't do anything about it. A big shot there from Leary. And we have the splits from Bean, and he's just going to take care of the siege. Just like that. He says, no worries. It doesn't matter. I've got kip checks, and I could just run away. Now, what he doesn't want to do is go this way. This is a trap. He got too excited. There's Scorpion here. There's monks here. He does end up killing an awful lot, but now it is 5 army versus 17. And for a guy who is 27 villagers, it's going to take him a bit to mass more kip checks. But kip checks aren't even that expensive. He's got more in the queue. He's got more army in the queue than Leary can afford right now. So Leary's just kind of waiting. You know, he's hoping to get good engagements. He gets a big attack round there. That's huge. I think Bean doesn't realize how good his position is right now, and so he's making mistakes because he thinks that he has to do more damage. If you look at the score would maybe tell him that Leary has 50 vills. Castle number 3 for Bean. An important one because this will protect the wood line. Remember, Bean doesn't have a town center. I mean, you could argue that maybe you could add a TC at this point. This is kind of important. But also at the same time, I think it is all about kip check numbers and castle drops. And this has got to be fun, right? I mean, you're up against Leary, even if you lose this one, whatever. It was entertaining. These 2 kip checks are just scouting out right now to find out where Leary is. At this point, Leary does have 1 town center, about to be 2. So he is adding more villagers. But he can't, like, the whole main part of Zico is gone. He's kind of forced in between where the castles are. Which is an awful spot when the opponent has your stone and can drop more castles. Have you ever seen someone so smushed up in the middle of someone? Leary is completely surrounded. And when you're surrounded, it's going to be hard to know where you want to drop your own castle. But that's what Leary is building up towards. The kip checks, micro, good splits, good kills on the monks. Good kills on the siege here. Incoming, I think. Yep. Great. I have to say, Bean's micro is really good. Look at that. Look at that split. This is really sick micro. Look at this. Split. 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 His favorite ice cream is a banana split. Let's go. God, these kip checks are so weak, though. Okay, split. Dodges. Leary's in trouble. Leary's like, I gotta build a castle, but I don't have the stone yet. But I want the stone, but I don't know what to do because there's kip checks everywhere. Leary's getting completely overwhelmed by this crap. Leary now has 9 military. It's 23 pop. Oh, I should have pointed out, by the way. Hold on, let's go back. So this is what I love about Age of Empires 2. You can only do so much at once, right? And oftentimes, if one person's getting wrecked in one area of the map, it's because they're realizing something in the other area of the map. So I have to show this because it was happening at the same time. Okay, so Bean had already lost a few villagers because he was at 27 at one point, right? So he lost the villagers here on the gold. And then as he's splitting and microing and killing everything here, Leary goes underneath the castle, which in Bean's eyes just isn't really a strong play. And Leary takes him down to 14 villagers. And here come 11 of them. I love this game. So someone can do the math on what percentage of the eco that is. But here come the villagers. And Leary sees that. And Leary's like, okay, we have to stop this castle. We're going to make our own castle. It actually worked out for him that he didn't build this castle earlier. Because I think he would have probably chosen over here. And now Bean just doesn't know what to do because he can't place his castle there. And so he's going to try and waltz over here to finish the castle. 19 pop versus 42. We're 40 minutes into the game. Bean obviously is known for some time he needs to kill and kill fast. He's really given himself a strong chance in this game as he's getting more kills here. But like 19 pop with only this many kip checks. I think it's going to be tricky. Even if he had all 14 of his villagers building here, I don't think he'd be able to complete it. Yeah, he's giving it a shot here. He does have Leary surrounded. Leary, though, will kill most of these villagers. All the kip checks. Leary just damaged his own knights. Doesn't matter. Bean has to tap out and call the GG. Wow. What a ridiculous game, right? Like, I really wonder how this would have gone if Bean didn't lose those vills to Leary's knights. I think, like, there's a lot of different things we could say, but I actually want to go back and look at that real quick. Because he lost, like, 13 vills in total there, right? Because I think he went from 27 to 14. And if he had 27, because that was his wood and gold eco. If he had those villas, so this is the one I showed you, but he lost these first. So I think if he had those villagers, see this? He had those villagers, and then he could drop another castle with a little bit more kip check support. I really think Leary could have been in trouble here. And obviously at some point as well, like Bean maybe could have gone for a second town center. But I think if he doesn't lose those villagers, he can make like 6 or 7 more kip checks, let's just say. And then he could probably micro down that army. Yeah. And then I don't think Leary, when he won the game, was in a position to make more knights. His monastery is underneath the freaking castle. He would have lost all of it. He would have not have had any siege remaining, really, either. So that was possible for Bean till the very end. GG, you can see, obviously, Leary had more eco and more military for some time. But I just loved how Bean went for it and put Leary under pressure there. It was such an entertaining game. 83 to 68 KD. Economically, whoops. This is funny to me because, like, at one point, the Kuman player was booming like a madman. Then went from 3 TCs or 2 TCs to 0. Leary with more wood, more food makes sense. Also more gold, and of course, just lacked the stone because Bean controlled that. I think so many players would have GG'd near the end there. So many players would never have dropped that castle at Leary's base, but Bean gave it a shot. And props to him for at least making it a fun one. Nick says I would have GG'd when he took my base. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people as well would have GG'd when they saw the castle in their face too. Like, Leary's position did not feel comfortable at all in the mid game.